Hello, dear friends. I am Wind Willow, and this is Willows of the Wind. I, today, will bestow on you my knowledge of the 8 limbs of yoga. Are you ready to go on an adventure? Good. Namaste.
Yama, the first limb of yoga, focuses on the golden rule. Do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. The pose representing Yama is the reclining bound angle pose. This pose represents Yama because it shows vulnerability to the world, non-violence, and continence. It demonstrates trusting others and in hopes that they will do the same in return. The plank position is the perfect pose for Nayama, the second of the 8 limbs of yoga. Nayama has to do with self-discipline and spiritual observances. Plank pose teaches yogis self-discipline through maintaining a tight core and requiring the mind to focus on balance. Asana means staying or abiding and represents the practice of physical postures. Asana, the 3rd limb of yoga, focuses on improving health, strength, balance, and flexibility. Wheel pose allows the yogi to challenge their physical and mental self and feel an overall sense of balance between the two. The 4th limb of yoga is pranayama, or breath. Breath is a life force. Tree pose symbolizes that trees breathe life-giving oxygen to the world and all of its living things. We generally breathe involuntarily, but if we can learn to control our breath, we can also control our minds. Pratyahara, the 5th limb of yoga, is about looking within yourself. It is the time to observe your daily habits and thoughts. Balasana, or child's pose, is a pose commonly known as a resting pose when practicing yoga. However, it is the pose that represents Pratyahara best because it is a time to really think about how your mind and body are feeling. Dharana, the 6th limb of yoga, is about concentration. Throughout our everyday, our focus wanders, and we tend to have difficulty concentrating on individual things. Through Dharana, we take the time to completely block out the world around us and focus. Eagle pose is a pose that takes much concentration, and so it goes hand in hand with Dharana. Dhyana, also known as meditation or concentration, is the 7th limb of yoga. It is a time that the yogi quiets his mind to ultimately enter a state of being aware without focus. A common pose in dhyana is sitting pose, a cross-legged posture where you sit straight with your hands on your thighs. And finally, samadhi is the 8th limb of yoga and a state of ecstasy. At this completion stage of yoga, you have reached a state of peace and enlightenment. Candle pose represents samadhi best because in order to do this pose correctly, you must use all parts of your body.